Hello everyone, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. I sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well. Even though this is a timeless reading, it is coming into, this is our last reading of 2020, and we just had an amazing full moon in the sign of Cancer. So, and also our 13th moon, our last full moon of 2020 also. So welcome everyone, whether you're here for the first time or whether you are returning. Welcome, welcome. Today we are going to be working with the goddess. I call her Hecate, Hecate. I've called her many different things actually, or many different pronunciations. But today, Hecate feels like the way in which we will be going, and that's what we will be referring to her as. I have channeled her before on this channel, and I've received quite a few people reach out either in the comments or privately asking for another a reading from Hecate. So I thought, why not check in with her for New Year's and see what your blessings are coming to you in 2021. For general blessings and the themes that will be coming up for the collective for 2021, and some healing and some getting rid of the old, bringing in the healing energy, including Reiki. I'm going to link down below the beautiful, I think it's less than 30 minutes, but it's a collective reading for 2021, so feel free to go ahead and click on that after this reading. But stay tuned for this, because this is sort of your second part reading. We're going to get more personal. We discussed the themes in the other reading. This will be much more personal with your pals, and see what's coming up for each and every one of you. So I'm just gonna leave it pretty open. We have our tarot cards here, and then I have some oracle card decks on the side. Just gonna see which ones call to each of us as we move through your readings, and just yeah, play it by ear. I got the very, very firm message that, to start 2021 with this sense of lightness if we can, but playfulness. It's been a very heavy year in 2020. So normally I have in most of the readings I have the all of the cards stacked and we go through them, but I just want to open it up today and bring that energy of light and play. And let's not forget, we also have our healing candle here with the magic oil. You can use any kind of magic oil that you want if you want to do any kind of ceremony or any kind of abundance or candle magic for bringing in your own blessings and beauty for 2021. But we have this here for you, so you can project upon it anything you no longer need, or bring in abundance and healing for you at any time through the reading. So we have our usual three piles. The first pile is clear quartz here, and I chose this beautiful moonstone in honor of our full moon in Cancer that we just had. But again, this is going to be a timeless reading, and this is our full chakra rainbow crystal here, which is very beautiful, and that is pile 3. And as always, take as much time as you need. Breathe in, take the time to align yourself with these readings. The more aligned you are with your own energy, the more these readings will resonate. So if you need to go ahead and pause the video and come back to us whenever you feel ready, go ahead and do this. Always listen to your intuition. Do whatever you feel is right. The timestamps will be down below as always. Now, let's get into these readings. I'm going to put aside pile 2 and pile 3. So if you chose pile 1 and you chose this clear quartz here, don't forget we have your healing candle, and we are going to be getting your messages, what to expect, any kind of messages for 2021, what's in store for you. Again, we're leaving it very open. See what our beautiful Hecate comes up with today for us. So Queen of Swords, that's wonderful. And the Four of Cups, that is gorgeous. So the first thing seeing for you, pile one, is for 2021. 2020 for you feels like a year that you accumulated a lot of wisdom, and you did a lot of stuff, a lot of the, I don't know, healing practices, a lot of what you needed to do behind closed doors. Now, for some of you, there could have been a little bit of that frustration, whereas I'm always very wary of, I think it's absolutely wonderful for people who have published books and done this and lost, 15,000 pounds and, and really skinny and doing this, that, and the other, and have accomplished so much in 2020. Seriously, three thumbs up to you. That's amazing. But for me and the collective energy of 2020, it really was about going within, resetting, re-understanding, renegotiating, and just throwing out what no longer works, allowing the systems to crumble within, and really reevaluating what it is that we wanted and who we are and how we're going to get there. And if folks were able to do that as well as have that shine in the external world, fantastic. For you, though, if there was any frustration coming in about not being out in the world quite in the way that you wanted to, or putting your feelers out and putting yourself out there a little bit, but not really getting the results that you desired, it's because that year really was for you, about renegotiating. There's a lot that you needed to throw out. There's a lot that you needed to renegotiate for yourself. Now, none of it necessarily came as a surprise, but there were a lot of aha moments for you in 2020. And those aha moments allowed you to integrate and create this new form of wisdom that you have. And it's really, this new wisdom is really based on this new version of who you are. Whereas before you had, you're fantastic at pulling in certain truths from certain places and putting them together. You're sort of that Frankenstein sense of knowledge. You're not going to put yourself right into one thing, and if you do, it's because you want to find out everything. But when you come out of it, there's a chance that you're gonna rest at its heels what didn't really resonate, but take what did. And you do this in every sort of way that you move forward, and however you approach everything, so that you have that sort of Frankenstein mentality in a way. You're sort of an amalgam of everything that you've learned and what you've taken in. So you have that form of it. But a lot of what you had before, a lot of your belief systems were definitely in some ways entrenched in something that you didn't really care for. And what you got to do in 2020, and it's very exciting, is you got to strip that away at its core and finally pull it out. Now, at times that was quite painful for you, and at times that required you to retreat back into where you were, and that was totally fine. So it really wasn't a year for you to get out and get out there in many ways. But for those of you who did have those aha moments and then wanted to shine and be out there, those results could have been sort of muddled a little bit. And that's okay, because your time is coming in 2021. What you have in 2021 is a really firm, idealistic understanding of who you are. Whereas before, people may have told you that, you're idealistic, you're this, that, and the other. But, it's almost like you were sort of in la la land. But the way in which everything has shifted in the world and is shifting and will absolutely become very clear in 2021. Now, things have been shifting dramatically throughout 2020. But 2021, of course, is when we actually get to see it integrated fully into every sort of fraction of society and the fabric of society. In certain aspects, to be perfectly honest, to see the beauty that was going on, you had to feel into it in 2020. You had to purposely look for it, because there was so much coming up, the wounds, all of that stuff was coming to the surface. And of course, we needed that to be able to move forward. But you had to look for the beauty in a way. Now that beauty is being integrated in a brand new way in 2021. So everything that you have learned, the wisdom that you now stand for, that no longer really stands or comes from or at its core. Let's just say, okay, so the form in which you will take, the truth that you will have, comes from your own being and is not rooted in anything that isn't within you anymore, like it was in 2020. Now, there's nothing wrong with how you were operating in 2020. We all do. We all have systems that are rooted in society, that are rooted in this, that, and the other, and in some ways rooted in capitalism. That's how we earn money, this, that. No, I mean, totally understandable. But as that was crumbling in 2020, everything around all of your root system actually crumbled too. So again, that could have been quite disconcerting for you. Some of you may even have had lower back issues and first chakra issues. That this real intense fear of not feeling safe in the world, only not being able to really, being able to see the beauty, but not being able to really, really connect with it in the way that you could have before, or in some of you weren't able to really connect to the beauty fully, but there was an essence of you that remained grounded in that beauty. And that was sort of knocked out in 2020. And that was quite difficult, quite concerning for you. And it felt very overwhelming at times. But as that was crumbling away, what happens is this really unique, beautiful system that's no longer rooted in fear, which means that you're no longer actually controlled by fear in many ways, shapes, or form. Because, as we are connected to, and we get a certain amount of our identity from the external world, from society, from notions that really aren't aligned necessarily with the divine, then, we can succumb to some sort of fear. Because as we're being told something, if an essence of us or even any part of us is rooted in that knowledge that we come from that too, then if that's knocked, then it knocks something within you. So of course, we to a certain extent, fear can be in and around us, and we can be at least projected upon by it. We can be certainly influenced by it, if not feeling fearful at some time. Well, you got to knock that out in 2020. And again, even though that was tough for you at the beginning, now you have your own sense of truth. This new sense of truth is rooted very firmly in who you are and not anything in the external. So what you get to do in 2021, which is truly exciting, is to bring that truth and to operate that truth into the world. And the world, again, this essence of beauty is going to be really sewn within the fabric of 2021. We're really going to be able to see what the other side of what 2020 brought up for us. It was very hectic, very chaotic energy, very much dealing with polarities, as we've had, hundreds, if not thousands of years, polarities of good versus bad, God versus the devil. It even made itself known within Republican and Democrat political systems, all sorts of things, but it was all dealing with polarities and not with the unification within them, but like one versus the other. But it really all boils down to good versus evil, or one side fighting the other, so we can be victorious. And that was being brought up in every sense of the word, in every fabric of society in 2020. As we come through that and realize that both sides are exactly the same, and there needs to be that middle ground so we can come in and start listening to each other, that notion of what was brought up in 2020 will be sewn into society. So the way in which you will be in 2020, bringing this wisdom and having this new sense of grounding, the way in which you feel in the world now, if it's not yet, it's coming to you. I promise you, we promise you to, in 2021, pile one, you will be grounding. Your energy will be different. The way in which you ground will be very different. Even as you put your roots into the ground in 2020, again, some of those root systems that you had, yes, you might have been grounded to the earth, but they still had the affect of the fear-based systems. Now when you fully ground in to the ground, you are grounding in a brand new way. A lot of you are grounding this way instead of that way, and you're grounding up instead of down. The way in which you ground is completely different. Your energy systems are working very differently now. You should feel lighter. There should be a lot more joy and hope in your life now. As you were grounding before, again, the grounding systems that grounded you, yes, you were connected to the universe, of course you were, but those other systems were still coming to play. But those were absolutely desecrated. I mean, for some of you, it was like taking like a pickaxe and just going at it. And then you've been going at it for many, many years. And in 2020, you hit that one rock that made the rest of them kind of go out. And then all of a sudden it was all gone. So you're ready to do this. You're ready to celebrate. You're ready to bring in, I want to say new version of self. It really isn't, but you're ready to integrate that sense of divinity. You know, anything that you want to do will be achievable in 2021, be it little or big. It'll be there. And for those of you who have already had sort of your finger in the pie, as it were, have a really good idea of what it is that you wanted to achieve, and in some ways have been working toward it again in 2021, but haven't quite had that level that you were expecting. Trust me, it's all going to happen very quickly. The biggest thing that we can say to you is ground yourself as much as you can, because it's really going to take off for you in 2021. Really feel as though that is going to be your year. Let's get you some, you know what, I actually want to do one more tarot. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning, in the intro, I just really, we had the 2 tarot cards at the beginning, but really just wanted to have this, where am I going to go now? Where are we going to go now? Which oracle deck or tarot card are we going to pick from next? I wanted this to be sort of a real free-flowing reading. So let's see what we have for you here. So yeah, we have the 3 of Cups. Absolutely. We've got celebration at every level here. Also, for those of you who new contracts are coming in, new soul family members are coming in. That's another thing that's happened for you in 2022. 2022, we're jumping ahead there. In 2020, because of everything that you were going through, everything crumbled on a global level, but it also crumbled within you, and you allowed this to happen. So first of all, we want to congratulate you on your courage. It takes a lot of courage to look within and allow all those systems to be that uncomfortable, allow all those systems to desecrate as you work out, and that new connection between you and alignment. That is not easy work to do, and you absolutely did it. We could argue in certain ways, as it was happening in 2020, it absolutely happened. And there was a point where there was nothing you could do about it. Everything was going to fall apart. But we would also say that you came into this lifetime in order to do this, in order to go through this. You already chose to be able to do that. So you had that courage in place. So we want to congratulate you for doing that. And as we said, some of 2020 could have been quite overwhelming in a way. And as you were watching everything fall away, you were watching people fall away too. Now, no judgment. None of these people are particularly bad. But even the almost great friends were falling away. And we can assure you, everyone and everything that fell away in 2020, if they do come back, and for some of you, some of them will be coming back, but they'll be coming back with a new soul contract. It won't be the same system of friendship that you had before. But it's really for you, Pile One, it's, coming back into this notion of friendship and true connection. That's really coming in for you in 2021. And we can see that's coming in for you in the earlier part, February onwards. There's going to be 2021 January. It's not going to be shaky by any stretch of the imagination, but that's the month of building. And we'll be able to feel it. We'll be able to sense it. But February onwards, at the beginning of the year, that's when your soul tribe, your soul family will start coming in. If you're already connected to some of your soul family already, and you realize that, you'll be coming together in a very, very, powerful way at the beginning of next year. Maybe you'll decide to work together on something. It will be a newfound connection, taking that connection to the next level. For some of you, however, though, it will be new energy coming right in. Now, it wouldn't have been necessarily greatest thing for them to come in last year because so much was going on. And even though, yes, who couldn't have taken the extra support? Absolutely. You would have been confused. Your energy would have been confused necessarily about, how to deal with that energy, because as new interests and new people coming into your life. You need space to be able to form those bonds, and you were working so diligently in everything that was going on. Couldn't have given that much time to it, really. So new soul family coming in, but working on a new level. This is the strength and the connection that you've been looking for. We also have the Three of Swords here right at the end. Want to bring that up. Moving through the betrayal and everything that you have been through before and renegotiating on your own terms. As that card came in at the bottom of the tarot deck, and we're moving into that sense of celebration, that tells me then you're moving out of relying on anyone outside of yourself. Now, we want to be clear when we say this. You're very independent, maybe too independent. Learning how to really ask for help is something that came in for you in 2022. But also the people that you had in and around you before, there's only a certain amount of help that you could have expected with certain people to acquire. The sort of friendships that you have, wouldn't say they were shaky necessarily beforehand, but they were only reliable to a degree. Coming into this sense of presence, this newfound connection, where these people coming into your life, or again, if these people are already in your life, other people will be coming in to secure that connection, or you'll be moving to a much brighter and higher connection with these folks, a physical connection of coming in with working together or something like that. But having that true support and being seen for who you truly are with that essence of truth and beauty that you've been working on brings you up to that next level of wanting to celebrate who you are and being out there in the world. So let's see what we have here. We have the Queen of the Moon Oracle. Let's get you some more information. So absolutely, that piece we talked about before, that coming into a sense of how you ground into your own energy, that sense of light, that sense of joy coming in, and being able to maintain it. You've had aspects of it in 2020, but feel as though a lot of energy has been dipping up, down, up, down. Some of you have had whiplash in 2020, but being able to maintain this new level of grounding, this new level of peace, of joy, of light. It's absolutely gorgeous. And knowing from that sense, that core, that center of who you are, you can pull in that manifestation. You can pull in that abundance, anything that you want. One word of advice here, and again, please take it at will. Anything that you want to take or don't take it, please listen to your intuition. It's very good to have an idea of what you want. And again, most of you, or a lot of you at least, really have an idea of what you want to achieve. Keep that in mind. Absolutely. Don't throw that out. But we're saying keep it open. 2021 is going to be an amazing roller coaster ride for you. There's going to be incredible amount of opportunities coming in for you that are going to be extremely exciting. That might pivot off a little bit from what you thought. So asking you to remain completely open. In hindsight, have an idea, absolutely, and especially if you've been working towards something, keep it, absolutely. Don't throw everything out. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's a horrible saying. I don't know why people say it, but absolutely, but keep it open, because the amount of opportunities coming in are going to be really, really exciting for you. And the way in which your energy works with the grounding, you'll really be able to pull that back now and attract all of that too. It's going to be a busy year for you, especially mid-year going into the end of 2021. Again, the sort of heightening up, building in January, and again coming into these new connections in February and March, which lay this grounding and this foundation for you, which is absolutely gorgeous to move forward. Again, living spherically. If you've been with me a while on this channel, we always say living spherically instead of moving in a linear motion. That way you can live in all facets of your life. Again, surrender. This is something that you've been doing. Also feel as though in 2020 you didn't have a lot of choice about surrendering. The process was happening anyway. If you fought against it in any way, there was this real intense darkness that came in for some of you. So you were sort of forced into this notion of surrendering, whether you wanted to or not. And for those of you who were working on the control versus alignment in 2020, again, that was really coming up for you. And if you were trying to control the situation, you were forced into into the surrendering. But again, coming back into the sense of like this easy, free flowing, what do I do? What do I do next? Put it out to the universe, see where it comes. You've done a lot of work, not just on yourself, but you've done a lot of work in other lifetimes now. You've worked really hard. And even though it's counterintuitive, not counterintuitive, counterproductive in some ways, the way in which society works. But again, you've worked on all of those notions to throw those out 2020. So this should resonate with you when we tell you less is more for you. Putting your energy into something wonderful, staying in alignment is wonderful. The effort, you've already made the effort in past lifetimes and in this lifetime. This is the year 2021 where you'll receive it all. Just be there in alignment. And if you slip back into the control aspect of it, you don't have to worry about that. The way in which you're grounding now, you'll be reminded of it and go, oh yeah, all right, I'm doing that again, and automatically shift. Let's move into Earth Magic here. Let's pull a card for Earth Magic for you. One card here. Vision Quest for you. So, I mean, to a certain extent, that's what you've been doing in 2020, but there was so much coming up for you. You didn't have the clarity sometimes that the vision quest gives you, the payoff, the sort of the clarity of the vision quest that you've been through in 2020 will be coming in 2021. You've already had a lot of those aha moments coming in at the end of 2020, and they will continue through the beginning of January, and then the payoffs will start coming in. You'll be able to see. Don't really like the understanding of payoffs because that's still in the mentality of, you know, I want something back. The way in which you're working with your energy is completely different now, if we've already talked about. So that's very exciting for you too, to be able to work on that. There's also a notion of working with other realms. For most of you, again, these are always general readings, but for most of you, you've done that anyway. But this real clarity of vision, you know, really stepping into a new version or heightening these beautiful talents and gifts that you've already been given. And one of them specifically, Pile 1, for you, is this understanding of working within different realms. Before you had to meditate, prepare to go in them. Now you can slip right in and come back out. So for some of you, you might be going into some sort of shamanistic ways and concentrating on that, or you might just be working on another system of belief. That's what you'll be doing. You're here to really set down and to work with a new version of how things can be, versus taking the old and putting it back together in that Frankenstein way that you did. So so we're going to leave that up to you, and however you bring this beautiful version into 2021. And this is the Work Your Light Oracle deck. Let's have Warrior Woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? Now, again, that really does talk to 2020. As this was going on, some of you did feel disconnected from, am I doing enough? Should I be doing enough? And am I holding that light? I think I mentioned it might even have been in the 2020 or 2021 messages and blessings, the collective version, which I'm going to list down below. It really is that there's so much that happened in 2020. So, you know, I mentioned in that, you know, sometimes when you look and all you see is darkness, that's because you're the light. That really spoke to you in 2020. There were some dark moments where you really were the light, and you took that light and you shone it. And again, for any of you who had any type of frustrations whatsoever about not achieving or not feeling as though you were stepping up in the way that you needed to, you did exactly what you needed to do. Step back out, hold the light, let everything crumble within you, knowing that your time was coming to really stand in your power. And that's what's coming to you now in 2021. So you have answered your deepest calling by listening to your deepest calling, and acting within that deepest calling will be your call in 2021. Inner temple, devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. That's something that you're able to do now with the peace and tranquility. And again, this new grounding, the way in which you ground. You're here to teach. You're also here to learn. All teachers are also learn as they teach. They learn from their students, of course. In many ways, they probably learn more than they teach. But this is for you, the way in which you're grounding is a new method. You might actually bring that in and start teaching others how to do that. There's this new, it's really old energy. That's why we talk about when we say new age, it's not new. It's old, it's ancient. I've never liked the thing on new age, or the saying new age, because it's ancient wisdom. And some of it was a little bit hokey, right? Which is totally fine. We have to go through the hokiness and have some fun with it to figure out the meat and potatoes, as my dad used to say, right? So for you, you're bringing in this ancient wisdom, but you are working it in a new way. And this is what you'll be integrating into 2021 and bringing it to people. It's going to be very exciting for you. It's a brand new way of working. Perhaps even research or going in new directions. That's why we're asking you to stay open, even though you have a very specific idea in mind of what you want to achieve. Fantastic. Any way you want to do it is the best way to do it. But even if you have a very specific idea of what you want to achieve, try to keep open, because your route in which you get there will be all over the place, and it'll be wonderful. So we really want you to have the most experiences, the best experiences, now that you're open and grounded to these experiences. Before, you had to close yourself off a little bit for protection, so you weren't able to have all of these experiences at the time, but these are available for you now in 2021. So take them. They're yours. Fearlessness, turn your warrior into warrior, solar plexus chakra. This is something that you've really been working on. Again, the way in which you ground is completely different. The way in which you grounded before had an essence of fear, because it was still attached in some ways, or had some remnants or reflection of societal stuff you did not intrinsically believe at all anyway. So letting it go might have been a little confusing and painful, but really the end result is 2 thumbs up, 3 thumbs up for it. You're thrilled. So it's all good. So that's what you'll be working on. This sense of peace and power really just comes from your connection with yourself and the divine now, not the outside beauty. And that means that the communities that you will be establishing in 2021 will be based outside of those systems of any kind of repression that existed before. Gorgeousness. Vulnerability, showing vulnerability is a sign of strength. That is absolutely what's coming up for everybody in 2021. Anybody who wants to heal throat chakra too. For those of you who are interested in the solar plexus and the throat chakra, specifically for you, Pile 1, I just uploaded the unicorn therapy from the Earth Star chakra, which is a wonderful chakra to work with, all the way up to the crown chakra. So if you haven't already, you might want to check those two out, their activations and healings for you. But that's absolutely what we're talking about, taking that vulnerability, taking that strength, everything that you've been through, and standing in that emotionality and saying, here I am, outside of the realms of perfection, outside of what we consider is truth and right, and just standing in who we are, warts and bloody all, and just loving it. So this is a theme for 2021. This is something that you've been working on in 2020 anyway. As things were falling apart, you had to stand in that vulnerability. You had to claim it. So this is something that you could be integrating into teaching in 2021, or bringing it to a larger audience, whether you're creative, a writer, music, children's books, whatever you do, working with children. So totally hope that this resonated with you, Pile 1. That's what I have for you. That's what Hecate, this is the energy that we have for you. Wonderful stuff, wonderful healing, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Keep being you. You've done so much work in 2020, and it's all going to happen for you. And it couldn't happen to a better person. So if it did resonate, do feel free to give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below. Love hearing from you guys. And of course, hit that subscribe button and come and join us. Hit that bell icon too. Come join us at our beautiful space on the internet here at Unicorn Light Tarot. We would love to have you. And as a present to you guys, I definitely did put up some extra. We've got the unicorn therapy going on. We've got intuition and the tarot going on, a 5-part series that I pulled out of the Unicorn School of Light for you guys. So many free resources for you. My present to you for the end of 2020, so you can go into 2021 being your badass self. Um, Absolutely. So sending so much love and light to you, Pal One. Please stay safe and sane. And until we meet again, which will be 2021, take care. Bye bye. Okay, my lovelies, for those of you who chose pile 2 in this gorgeous moonstone here, this is your reading. Blessings. Concentrating on 2021, personal messages for you for 2021 from our beautiful Hecate, or however it is you say her beautiful name. We also have our gorgeous light tear and our healing oil. So again, any activation or any healing that you feel like you need, you can let go of anything that you no longer need upon the flame, or bring in abundance and beauty into your life. So let's see what we have for your tarot. 9 of Cups and the King of Cups. Absolutely wonderful. So it feels as though there's a few different things going on here. This seems to be for, this seems to be for 2021, sort of the magic year in some ways, and getting what you truly want, stepping into the life that you truly want because you've created it on your own terms. And this is sort of the theme, being able to see the beauty it was definitely integrated in 2020, but we're being able to see it in 2021, instead of sort of shining out into the darkness. It was a difficult year. It was a heavy year, right? That lightness will be in and around us for 2021. We'll be able to see it. It starts off differently. It feels different on a global level, on an interpersonal level, in an insular level. So you will be definitely working within your own notion of what you want to achieve. Now, the one thing that you're getting here, there's many different things, but the first thing that we're going to talk about for you, Pal 2, in 2021 is the real courage to put yourself out there. Now, you're fearless in some ways, and you have a huge amount of courage, but you place that courage in very specific ways. You also have, for many of you, again, this is a general reading, but for many of you, you have a very certain type of personality where you have courage, you'll do this, you'll do that, spontaneous in some ways, but then when you're working towards something, you'll level it up. If I do this, what do I get for that? Or not expecting anything back. That's not what we're saying. Maybe we'll change the verbiage there. But what's going to be, if I put this, if I put out my effort there, what can I expect back? What can I do there? It's sort of deliberating. So this sense of deliberation is sort of leaving your life. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It's like you want to put a certain amount of effort in somewhere to see if it's worth it, right? The reason why a lot of you have done that systematically is that you've put in a lot of effort into people, into situations, and you've not gotten any return at all, because in essence you are a giver. So you definitely wised up to all of that, right? And you sat down and said, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. I put a certain amount of effort. What can I expect back? This, that, and the other. And there's nothing wrong with that. That was part of your healing journey. If you hadn't done that, you wouldn't have been able to step into this real sense of autonomy that you have now. But that was part of this layered interaction with yourself in learning how to stand your own ground and learning how to really put those boundaries down. And that's something that you've done periodically through your life. But this is a brand new sort of way of being in 2021, where you just literally figure out what it is that you want. There's no payoff. There's no, you're completely in control, or let's not use that word. You're in complete alignment with your surroundings and who you are. So you can expect this level of success. You can expect this level of living that you've never reached before, because there, in that level of thinking that you had, there was some kind of compromise. There was always some kind of compromise. You could expect to gain this, but you had to compromise this and be able to do that. Now again, we want to say that's absolutely the way in which you needed to do it. It's part of your healing journey. Within that mode, you were able to really figure out what it is that you wanted, and some of you had to regenerate what it is you truly wanted and really work with your notion of success, which is for some of you just completely threw out in 2020 and just replaced it with something completely different, a definition very much from your heart instead of your mind, right? But in 2021, this is an exciting time for you because anything could happen. Now, you've always had a certain amount of courage, a vast amount of courage, but you've had a certain amount of courage in certain places because you've saved that courage for other things. Like we said, as you've moved forward, always weighing the decisions, always doing this. Certain amount of courage came into it, that's fine, but then you save the courage for the really big decisions. All right, I'm getting on a train now and I'm getting out of here and I'm never coming back, right? So you had that essence to you. So you saved your courage for when you truly needed it. But in essence, what you are is a very creative and courageous person. So the way in which you use this courage, the way in which your courage is freed up now in 2021 opens so many different doors for you. You just got this vision of like walking down a corridor, 5 doors on either side. You can knock on every single one of those doors, open it up and see what's on the other side of it. Now, you wouldn't have been able to do that in before, because you would have been a little bit overwhelmed. You wouldn't have had enough time to deal with what was coming. Even if everything was good, you would have been quite overwhelmed by it. And that's the way in which you were working before didn't really allow for all of these doors to really open. And it wasn't the correct timing for you anyway. Everything comes to us in time, and that's a really frustrating saying. Oh, everything timing, yeah, great. I know it comes into, when is the timing? It's really annoying. But the truth is, we are where we are because there's still something to learn, or we would be where we wanted to be if we were ready for that, right? And that's what people don't really like to hear, myself included. But if you're still in a situation, you're still there for a reason. Now, you can assimilate everything that you want in 30 seconds and get out of that situation. No one's saying it has to last for 10 years, for an eternity. You don't have to be Sisyphus going constantly up, with that big boulder and like keep making these mistakes and thinking everything's really tough and hard. But if you are in this situation, you're in it for a reason. But that gets thrown out in 2021. Now, whatever it is that you wanted to attract, that you did have the courage for, but your courage was being used and placed in very specific ways. And those were good ways because it was teaching you those boundaries that you needed to do. And for some of you, it was toughening you up a little bit because you're so beautiful. You've got this really beautiful notion of the world, but that naivety people have taken advantage of a little bit. And then for some of you, you've gone the other way. Well, everybody's mean and this, and that's been tough for you. It's been the seesaw of really figuring out, okay, this person isn't for me. This person, I don't have to be judgmental, but I can say this person is not, this person needs a little bit of help. I can't help them. I can put down those boundaries. I can respect where they are. I don't need to judge them. I can have a lot of compassion for them, for what they've been through and where they are. But I can cut off this energy immediately and say, it's not for me. We're done, right? We're done. We're out. For you, it took a while to figure out, wanted to take in that energy, wanted everybody to be okay, try to refigurate all of this stuff. And in essence, for some of you, again, a general reading, some of you wanted to sort of save people. In many ways, you've grown out of that quite a little bit. In some ways, it's sort of been beaten out of you a little bit, which is really sad. Maybe not physically, but metaphorically, because, people have taken advantage quite a bit of your sweetness. But what you gained in 2020 is this real sense of balance, of where your energy starts and other people begin, who deserves your energy at times. And it's been really difficult for you to say, you don't deserve my energy now. You don't have to say it to them. You never have to say it to them. But that's where boundaries are. I don't need to get involved in this. I don't need to mix my energy with yours now. Again, I'll send space. I'll hold space for you. Compassion, no judgment, but F off, right? Because you saw the beauty in absolutely everybody and you wanted everybody to be okay. You really have this absolutely pure, beautiful, gorgeous soul. Don't use the word pure very often, and I really don't like the word pure because it's been condensed and been used in all sorts of different things that definitely not pure. But you do, just for just to be clear, for clarity's sake, you've got a very, very pure soul. So you had to learn that and be okay with it without feeling as though you were turning your back on someone, or, are they going to be okay? Really learning not just that aspect of having boundaries, but the responsibility to yourself first. You had to learn that. Now, in 2021, what's gorgeous about that is that adventurous spirit that you have, that courageous spirit that you have, that was used in a very complex manner before, now can be used across the board. And now your dreams can come true, right? So you've done all this work and you've got this gorgeous energy, this gorgeous openness and freedom around you. So you can just breathe the sigh of relief and honestly just see what comes back to you. Our advice to you, especially in 2021, is just to see what energy comes in. The way in which you're working with the universe is very different now as the way you've been working previously before. So you have this energy of a surety to you, whereas before you've had, it's really funny for some of you, again, general reading, but for some of you, you're very sure about everything, right? Or you're very sure about certain things, and you'll put your foot down, all right, I'm doing this, I'm really sure about it. And then if it didn't come back, and then you didn't give yourself enough time to sort of really work on it and activate it properly, and then you'd start doubting yourself. So you have these moments of really absolutely knowing in that moment, this is the right thing, I'm here, I know what I'm doing. But those moments never really lasted that long, because you were still dealing with the boundaries and other people's energies and this, that, and the other. So there was those moments would be surrounded by self-doubt later on. Now this shifts and changes in 2021 as you come in and you're sitting there and you're living spherically, as we always say, instead of living in this linear way, A, B, C, D, one way of doing things, moving forward, that's it. Living spherically, allowing yourself to be open. What's next? How do we do it? And it could be A, D, F, Z. I mean, it could be all different ways, and you'll still get to where you want to be. It doesn't have to be this sort of this linear fashion. So for you get to live in this freedom, this spheric, living spherically in this world in 2021, making your own rules, which is really nice, and just staying in that energy and working with the universe in these laws of attraction, but taking it to the next level, working with the universe. What is going to happen for me today? What should I do today? Really working in that intuitive form. You're incredibly intuitive, and when you listen to your intuition, it never steers you wrong. But again, for some of you, you've taken that intuition and you've put it away and you've protected it a little bit because there's been other things going on, especially when you've attracted other people, like a neon light, people who need help. And again, when you were wanting to help people, to protect it, you put it away, and you had to put away that intuition a little bit. But working with your intuition now in 2021 gives you this gracious living where you get to live on a completely different level than you ever have before. So you can say to the universe, what am I supposed to do here to live in alignment with who I am? What is my next step today? And it's just going to happen. And it's honestly, for those of you who are sitting out there and it's resonating with you, Paul, too, but you're like, this doesn't seem that big. It's a game changer. pile 2. This is a game changer to the way that you were living before. It means that you can pull in anything that you want at will. And for those of you who are alchemists out there in this pile 2, and a lot of you are, the way in which you can shift this energy before, again, you've had shifts and starts with this energy. Most of you realize that you can alchemize energy, that you are alchemists and you've been able to do it. But again, it's the steady flow of abundance that we want you to have, that you're going to be able to have. It's this knowing of who you are. It's working with the masculine side of yourself. Whereas before you use that masculine side to sort of control and protect. And again, no judgment. You needed to do it that way. It was part of your healing journey. But you get to use the divinity, the divine masculine, and these masculine traits of action in the way that they need to be used, to grounding into this sense of knowing with this beautiful intuitive side of your divine feminine, which is the receptive energy of what happens next, and just having that really beautiful life, that life where people look at and go, I don't know how that person lives like that. I don't know how they've attracted that. They must have millions in the bank. Well, you could have millions in the bank, but you attracted it, right? So this is a way in which that you're going to use your courage. So getting back to the very beginning of the reading, the way in which you're going to use your courage in 2021 is going to be beautiful. You're going to be shining your light everywhere. That's another thing, you know, being out in the world has been weird for you or difficult for you. And of course, it's almost like a burden for you because you feel everything from everyone. And why wouldn't that be a burden? I totally understand where you come from, by the way, Paul, too. And also, you know, needy people come to you all the time. And that feeling of not having those boundaries, you know, a lot of people would have come and taken some of that energy from you. So we can call back your energy in this reading. And that's a meditation that you can do to call back your energy too. Just to sort of reframe and regroup. But you've done a lot of this work already with the boundaries. So it's this beautiful understanding of who you are and standing in your own power and just watching your life sort of take off. In this sort of fairy tale realm, you know, fairy tales can be quite cruel too, but, you know, in this sort of like unbelievable way, that you absolutely deserve and you've worked very hard for. But putting yourself out there in the world is less frightening to you, and at times before took so much courage. And when you did put yourself out there, you got a lot of great reception and stuff, but you were very careful about where you put yourself out there and what you said. And this is very different now. You're putting yourself out there in this sort of courageous way that really aligns with who you are, and the graciousness that you'll receive, the abundance that you'll receive just by being you and putting yourself out there. So it's like, it's whoever you are, turbo style in 2021. We've got the Queen of Moon Oracle here. Let's see what else we have for you. Resilience, absolutely. And that's what it's been about. It's been about resilience. But let's pick another card because you've moved through that. It's, you know, the surviving, not thriving. This is your thriving year in 2021. For most of you, you already feel that catalyst sort of moving and burning because you've known all of that. You've been through the boundaries. You've had so many existences, so many situations probably in 2020 where you can absolutely feel that you were being called to work on the boundaries. Many situations came up for you. They may have been a lot less dramatic than they have been in the past because this has been an ongoing thing for you, boundaries, for a good portion of your life. But they may have been less dramatic for you, but they weren't any less painful for you in 2020. So, you know, the moving from surviving to thriving is not a small thing for you. Discernment, absolutely. And that's what we've been talking about. You know, you can keep your beauty. You don't have to save it. You can give your beauty to the world, but you don't have to give your energy to the world. So you, again, reframing those boundaries, figuring out who gets your energy and, you know, and keeping your ego out of it completely. All right. You're coming at me you're done, you're out of here, rather than who do you think you are coming at me, all of that. It's the eradication of the ego, but at the same time really having those boundaries. And the ironic thing is, by having those boundaries, you're actually more available to people, which is what you're learning now. 2021, you're going to put it into existence. You're going to see that framework actually work in the world at large. Like, what you've been doing is almost like been preparing for this, for 2021. Now you get to take it out of the classroom. You get to move it out into the world. It's very exciting. So we have, let's see what we've got for another work with your light oracle deck. Let's get you some more information. So again, we want to reiterate that this is not a small thing. Everything that you want can come to you with your new relationship now that you have. Now that you're not bound and tethered to other people's energy. This is not a small thing. Starseed, what lights you up? So this is what you'll be doing. You'll be constantly be asked this in 2021. And whatever lights you up, use your intuition and move down. Sort of, if you can, I just got this in the dark, they have, I think they even have them at the dollar store, the Dollar General, those click-in lights, and you put them on your patio so you can see when it's dark. Being asked to sort of turn on that light and keep moving down that path, and move down the path as you put on each light. So what lights you up? You're being asked you're going to be asked this question by your guides many, many different times in 2021. And we urge you to dig deep. Now, some of it's obvious what lights you up, and some of it isn't as obvious. You're going to be going off in somewhat tangents in 2021, and we want to urge you to take those tangents, because you're going to find a real hefty, powerful part of your soul in those tangents. Now that you're coming out of the surviving, coming into thriving, your energy isn't taken up so much in these boundaries and figuring out how to work within them. So, you'll be able to go off in different directions and have new insights and new ways of being. And even if, the essence of who you are remains the same, like, I want this, I've always wanted this, keep that, absolutely. But it might be able to go off in these different tangents that can be really exciting for you. So we remind you to stay open and keep asking yourself what lights you up. It will shift and change. It might be held in the same carrier. It might be framed in with what you already love to do and what you already know lights you up. It may not be completely off center, but it might be a little bit different too. So allow for those tangents to come up and see where you're going, because that's where you're going to find some really interesting, beautiful things about yourself. You're going to be put into many different beautiful situations in 2021 where you get to actually physically witness how grounded, how full of wisdom, and how gorgeous you are. And you've not always had those situations, because the people that you've shown yourself to, again, had an agenda, or they do see you, but it's on a smaller level. I mean, the way in which you'll be working and navigating your life in 2021 will be full of richness. And while you're not doing it for people to come back and go, oh my God, you're amazing, you don't want any of that. That's ego stuff. That's fawning. You're not into that. But it's good to feel as though you're making a difference, for people to tell you that you're making a difference. That's okay. That's not the ego. That's just you going, oh yeah, I get it. Thank you for telling me that. I am in the right direction. I really appreciate that you appreciate me. I appreciate that. I appreciate you for appreciating me. It's all of that. There's nothing wrong with having any kind of recognition for what you do. And because you've worked through all of that and you know who you are, you can align it with your highest self, and it's never going to get out of control before. It's never going to get out of control. But to be recognized for that is wonderful. And you wouldn't have been able to do that necessarily before, not to the degree that you wanted necessarily. But you'll be able to do that now. And for those of you who are, because there are some of you who are recognized for what they do, and they are happy with the level that they're at. I just got that. So this message is specifically for you. Again, we want to urge you to really pay attention to those, to being asked what lights you up, and to those tangents, because in those tangents, something else is going to light up within you. You'll be going down a little bit of a different route, but that's going to really implement you and highlight what you already do and bring it to the next level. You're not done yet. So that's another specific message. Absolutely, strength. We've talked about courage. Strength is absolutely there. You know, you've used a lot of that strength in the past. You've used so much of it to maintain where you were and to simply live. It will be wonderful to be able to watch you bloom and blossom without that constant need for protection, taking out, dusting off that intuition. Again, you do use it and it's wonderful, but not having to protect it at any time. Integration with that beautiful inner child of yours, which of course has that's where your naivety, that beautiful essence of who you are, had to protect that at certain times. So really being able to fold in your strength in a new way without protection is going to be gorgeous. Let's do one more here. Movement. I mean, that's it, River, for you. If we could say one word for you to sum up 2021, it will be movement. Now, it'll be external movement. There was a lot of movement for you internally. That sounds really weird, but you know what I mean, spiritually in 2020. But there will be movement on the external 2021, which will be really exciting. And again, clearer strength and a clearer vision of what you want. You don't need to figure out or try to command what it's going to look like. And you won't need to and you won't want to anymore. That essence of control has moved into alignment. So we have these chakra cards. We're going to end the reading with one of these. What do we have here? Embrace the balance between earth and spirits. Clear quartz here too, rose quartz for you too. And chakra balance. Embrace between earth and spirit. This is something that's going to become very natural for you in 2021. Now, whether you realize it or not, everything that you did in 2020 was leading you up to be able to embrace the balance between the earth and spirit. Whether you realize that or not, that's the essence of the courage and the protection and learning and figuring out and refigurating your boundaries and how that works. So this is going to be your payoff in 2021, and you're going to feel that balance and that joy, and your outlook will be very, very different. Whereas before we were talking about the resilience, but in the resilience you have the surviving aspect. Moving into the thriving aspect, of course, is completely different. So you've got that lighter energy, that balance coming in, that trusting a lot more, trusting yourself a lot more, trusting the universe a lot more. Again, new people coming in, albeit new experiences. Again, enjoy those tangents. And remember, your word for 2021 is movement. So that's what we have for you here. Beautiful pile 2. Myself and Hecate here. So we hope that resonated. If it did, feel free to give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments below. And if you have not joined us already, feel free to subscribe and hit that bell button, that bell icon, because we'd love to have you here at Unicorn Light Tarot. And don't forget my gift to you. Beautiful people of Unicorn Light Tarot, we have the Unicorn series of activation and healing all the way through your chakras, and we also have Intuition and the Oracle 5-day free. I pulled that out of my my school to give that to you for free. So there's many different things for you. Support and love. My gift to you at the end of 2020. Take it into 2021 and get the support and love that you absolutely deserve. So go be you, and just you, because nobody else can be you. There's only one of you. Until we meet again, stay safe and sane, pile 2. Bye-bye. Hello, pile 3. If you chose this gorgeous chakra, I don't really know what this is, but it's representative of all these chakras, the entire chakra system, then this is your reading from Hecate. And again, we are doing a reading for Blessings of 2021. Don't forget we have the healing candle to be used at will to any way that you want to. Many different levels to this reading. So let's get right into your beautiful, oh, High Priestess here and the universe. Oh my goodness, pile 3. Look at this, High Priestess. Now, we did talk about the themes that are coming up, and again, I'm going to list that down below, of the themes that are coming up in 2021. For the universe, for the collective anyway. And of course those themes are going to at least influence or trickle into our readings, pile 1, 2, and 3, and they have done. And it's definitely about coming into your own and being out in the world the way in which you want to be without any compromises. For you, though, there is an essence, even though there's different messages obviously in each one and different energy in each one, even though there's sort of an overriding kind of energy to them. But yours has a real phoenix from the ashes rising energy here, pile 3. It's very, very exciting. A lot of you, and again, this is a general reading, so take what resonates, but a lot of you have done a lot of your work in private, sort of secretive type people. And in that way, none of that will really change. You're not all of a sudden going to be da-da. I mean, some of you will, and an aspect of you will. You'll definitely be integrated into the world a lot more, but you'll always have that mysterious kind of secretive aspect to self. Not everybody needs to know absolutely everything. You'll be the sort of person where, not everybody knows everything about you. You'll always ask questions about other people, but never necessarily offer up a lot about yourself. Now, you're not purposely being secretive necessarily for most of you. It's just that you'll offer up sentiments, your storytellers, a lot of your storytellers. So when you talk about your experiences, if it relates to a certain situation where you can help somebody, that's when you will bring up your experiences and that's what you will share. But the day-to-day and the actual understanding of who you are, you keep very close to your chest, just because you only share what you feel is relevant. And for you, people talk too much and they don't say enough. You have that real Scorpio energy in some way. Some of you may be Scorpio or Scorpio ascendant, rising or moon. And even in your Mars too, or Scorpio in your chart. But even not, you just have this mysterious, beautiful energy to you. And you've used it in a certain way. And the way in which you've done it is, so you've healed in closed doors, behind closed doors. You've done a lot of stuff behind closed doors one way or another. And that's the way that you choose to do it, because it's not that you invite in criticism by any stretch of the imagination, but in many, many different lifetimes, you achieve so much that when you get to a certain point of limelight, people project upon you, just much easier to project upon. And, a lot of people will give you their opinions of you, even though it's not warranted, and you've had this energy around you a lot one way or another, regardless of what you believe you've achieved in this lifetime or not. You've had it in other lifetimes, where you've been criticized or you've been projected upon so much, more so than the average person one way or another, more so than others, we would say. So, you purposely done things behind closed doors because that's the way that you can get all of your healing done. That's the way that you can come to your own understanding about things without having to integrate other people's opinions. It's really important for you to do that. It's been a necessity for you to do that. And also, as a result, this is the other thing that happens too. When you do make a mistake, you can be quite hard on yourself because you do everything behind closed doors. So when you do, it's kind of considered like a mess up, and you're like, where most people live out, they're all about, here I am, maybe a little bit too much, maybe sharing a little bit too much. We have all of this media stuff, social media, maybe a little bit too much. So when they mess up, it's like, oops, and you don't have that. It really hits you hard when you do. You also want to go back into how it happened, make sure it didn't happen again. So you can be quite hard on yourself when those mistakes happen. And of course, we learn from those mistakes, and you know that. Invariably, you know that, but still, you're quite hard on yourself when that happens. So that's just a variable and sort of an offshoot of the way that you've been working, because you've been working behind closed doors. Nothing's really in the open, so when anything happens that's still a mistake, you still want to keep it behind closed doors. So if it leaks out, or it's obvious that you've made a mistake to other people, you're really hard on yourself. But this all shifts and changes, because what happens is there's this real change of, instead of like doing everything behind doors, there's this real phoenix from the ashes kind of da-da kind of thing. Even if you're working in your perspective realms, whatever it is that you're doing and you've been working at for a really long time, like if you're an actress or whatever it is, if you're a writer, whatever it is that you're doing creatively, it's not like you've not been out there. You are, but the level up that you will be getting to in 2021 really will be like a da-da moment, to the point where, some people might be like, where did this person come from? They're like out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden this, but actually you have been out there. It's just the way in which you've done it. Now, some of you may not have realized how secretive you really are. And some of you may really understand how secretive you really are, but you've downplayed yourself before, but you've done this in a way, it's kind of your strategy. So you're aware of this in many ways, but you may not have realized quite how much, to what degree you've downplayed, until your da-da moment comes. And that da-da moment is coming in 2021. And it's really going to feel very different. It's going to feel so different to you from living the way that you did, from moving into how you will integrate into the world. Now, you're absolutely ready for it. And we can say that, working the way that you have behind closed doors has prepared you for this da-da moment, in many ways. But you'll also be the sort of person who will need to, and you will do this to protect your energy. Again, you'll always have that secrecy. Let's call it mysticism, because it is. You'll always have that mysticism. You'll always need to retreat and come back to center and just be you. You have one of those personalities where you're extrovert, introvert. You can work a crowd, but you're also incredibly introverted. And if you're not interested in what people are saying, or if you're in a group where you're not feeling it, you'll just sit there and read a book. You might have done that. You'll be polite, you'll be this and that, but it won't be that interesting to you. You're very careful in many ways about where your energy is, but if you're feeling it and if you're on it and the energy is there, you definitely have already had those ta-da moments. But this will be integrated fully into 2021. But you'll still need to retreat and come back to who you are. And people will sense that about you and really want to almost be around you all of the time. But that's not going to be possible for you. You need to come back and recharge. Even though very similarly to Paul 2, you've worked on your energy where you begin and somebody else starts. And somebody else ends, and you've worked on your boundaries fiercely in 2020, whether you've wanted to or not. You've been in a position to work in those boundaries. So it's not really depleted per se as you were before. Whereas before, you go to a situation and you be in this, you actually, when you come out of it, you're depleted and you have to come back to regenerate. It won't quite be that. It's just that the matter is that the way in which you work in the world is really quite fascinating. You take a little bit of everything and you love what people say, but you need that time to be able to regroup and then put it all together for you, the way in which it makes sense for you. Like, for instance, somebody will give you a sentence and say, that's truth. You'll pick apart that sentence, get the sentiment of what that person said to you. But you'll need to put it together the way that you need it in order for it to really hit home with you. You don't take anything that people say for, as a given. Even if you believe what they're saying, you still need to format it so your energy is in and around it, if that makes sense. So so your regrouping will not be to recover as much in 2021 because your energy is much more aligned, which is very exciting. But it's definitely going to be so because you're going to be around so many different kinds of people, so many different kinds of situations in these dada moments throughout 2021, which is very exciting. You'll need to bring in all of this new knowledge and what people and how people are presenting it to you and make it your own. And that's really important to you. That's how you process. Part of your process will always be behind closed doors, but it won't be the way in which you've been working before. So not surprised that you chose or attracted to the alignment of the chakras. That's what you've been doing too. And through 2020, there's been this mass clearing of all this old stuff that's been coming up for you. And, you know, you've done a lot of the healing work. So I wouldn't say that there was a lot of healing per se in 2020. It's more like a lot of releasing in 2020 and then sort of integrating this new energy. A lot of what you've been going through in 2020 is integrating this new energy that you've come into, you know, regrouping all of that, this crystallizing of the DNA, all of this other stuff, a lot of activations for you and working through that energy. It's not been small, it's been huge, but you've come to this plateau of energy where it's integrated, and 2021 is where there's that strength to go out there and have that dada moment. So let's see what else we have for you. We have Queen of the Moon Oracle here. So all of your truth and all of your beauty and the expansiveness that you're left with after releasing in 2020 can be integrated in this brand new way in 2021. And very similarly, again, very different energy, but the same message of darting off in different directions, having several different projects going on at the same time. Now, for some of you, again, a general reading, but if this part resonates and this part is for you, your personality type gets quite bored anyway. So you have several different projects going on at the same time. And if one of those projects takes more of your energy, then of course you'll activate it and keep with that one project and finish it and go back to the others. But you always, at least initially as you start them, usually have 2 or 3 projects going on. It's not unheard of for you to have 3 or 4 books that you're reading at the same time too. They, again, across the board, non-fiction to fiction to this, that, and the other. Completely different. You like to, when you open yourself up to knowledge, you like to open yourself up spherically to knowledge, not just read, just one book, take it in, take another one. And if you've done that in certain parts of your life, that's totally fine too. But the essence of who you are is to take in as much information as you possibly can, even if it overwhelms you. You would rather that overwhelming feeling rather than just have one thing. So it's really gorgeous in 2020 because that energy is actually displayed in how you are in the world. So many different projects going on, so many different ways to do things, darting off in different alleyways of life, as it were. And this is where you're going to find some really fun adventures. So keep yourself open to those. Absolutely. Now, you had that essence of who you were anyway, but that energy of you of always having so many different things going on, and sometimes, again, if it's overwhelming, you can work with that overwhelming part of it, but need to keep your life full of energy, need to keep your life full of wisdom, a lot of different information coming in at different times. That's why you don't really suffer fools lightly when, your intuition is very good too. If somebody tells you something and you can figure out if there's a motive behind it. Very good at reading people, and sometimes you were good at reading people, but you still took them in and things happened, but that's in your past too. But this is really about taking all of that beauty, that your approach to life that you previously had behind closed doors, as it were, and really having that in the external world. Lots of different projects going on with different people. It's going to be a year of a lot more interaction. Now, we could say, of course, because a lot of us were in lockdown to certain points in 2020. But this is beyond that. This is connection on every level with different people. And also, that's the other thing, you love working with different kinds of people too, from the artist to the, you get on almost like a chameleon type aspect to your personality, and sometimes that could have played into how difficult it is to figure out where you begin and somebody else starts, because you're so good at fitting in chameleon wise. But your dada moment, of course, means that you've integrated all of the, particularly with the lower chakras and beaming up to the higher chakras, you clear those all out in 2020. So when you walk into a room, when you have these dada moments, you are who you are. You're no longer fitting in to these other situations or these other the people or groups. They're fitting in around your energy, but at the same time, as you're not placating to what it is, but you also understand, you're very diplomatic. You also understand, what to say and when to say in certain groups. It's not like you're holding anything back. You still have the complete essence of who you are, but you have a sense of authority. You know how to use that and wield it in 2021, which is also very exciting. Brings a lot of power and a lot of powerful people in and around you. Pile 3. A lot of powerful people that can make things happen for you on your own terms. Beauty, absolutely. Let's get one more here for you too. Beauty. Coming into beauty and assessing. Now that we've already talked about that, you're very good at assessing a situation. You're very good at assessing. That gets notched up a little bit in 2021 as you move in to this beautiful sort of hierarchy of what you could achieve. Now, you've always believed in beauty. You've always believed in beauty. You try to beautify everything one way or another. You've even tried to beautify, people around you or significant others, and that could have had some varied or mixed results. But you always had that essence of beauty. But again, because of closed doors and doing things the way in which you did. And again, we want to reiterate, there's no judgment there. You had to do it that way, and it's totally respected. But there was only a certain level of beauty that you could really see in your life because of the way that you were living. Now that beauty is expanding with your sense of gorgeousness, with your sense of that aha moment of that phoenix rising. That beauty gets taken and gets integrated into every fabric of society through you, no matter where you go. You get to take that beauty, and because you're meeting and integrating much more into the world in 2021 and have these very sort of powerful alliances here, that beauty comes with you, so you can share that beauty a lot more. And a lot of you too, you've really worked with that understanding of inner beauty. You've really worked on loving your face, loving your body, accepting you for who you are, and redefining what success means for you, but particularly what beauty means to you in this lifetime. You've really come away from the standard idea of beauty and really come into this ancient, gorgeous, sort of wisdom type, beautiful essence of information. And that's what you'll be taking with you into 2021, almost redefining it as you stand in that notion of beauty. And that will be absolutely understood and respected, and there will be space for that in 2021. You won't be the only one doing that. Awakening, energetic updates, a new way of being, integration. We've talked about that. A lot of 2020 was about your awakening, even though it actually existed beforehand, but it was tangible in 2020, moving you through that, all of this releasing here, all of those activations, those energetic updates, and sort of causing that to shift you into this new alliance with yourself of self-respect. And again, redefining what beauty is, redefining beauty for you to exist within that definition, and that integration coming into the external, really spreading it about in 2021, that gorgeousness. Let's do one more here for this one. Play, have fun, celebrate, don't be so serious. Absolutely. That's another thing that you will be doing in 2021. There's a seriousness about you because you had to be serious about your healing and You had to be serious about your boundaries while it was happening in 2022, because so much was sort of piling out. You had to be there to be responsible, to figure out. Sometimes it lashed out a little bit. You had to pull it back and figure out what was going on. Now that that's fully integrated, you get this lightness, you get this play, you get to go out there and be who you are. You didn't really have as much time for that as you did before. And for some of you, and again, a general reading, but for some of you may have seen it as gratuitous even, because there was so much going on. You know, it's like, oh, I really admire this person who goes off and plays, and they're so whimsical, and they're this, that, and the other. And even though you saw that essence in yourself, there wasn't any time for that. You know, I've got to be dealing with this is coming up, or I have this notion of wanting to do it, but then pushing it further, or really acting on it, didn't really come up because your energy was taken somewhere else. Well, that energy is dispersed, everything's integrated. What frees you up? You've got this lightness, you've got this play, you've got this energy. That's what draws all these people to you in 2021 too. This is going to be a people year for you. 2021, Pile 3. It's absolutely gorgeous, and they're going to want to see more of you and who you are. And you'll be, for whatever you've been working on, and you've been working on projects behind closed doors too, whatever those projects are, people are going to be very impressed with them. They'll be coming out of the closet. You'll be coming out of the closet 2021, right? Grounding, absolutely. Let's see, grounding and celebration, absolutely. The grounding, the essence of grounding is something that you've worked on. You do ground a little bit differently as you do now, because your energy is a little bit different. But we don't really need to go into that because it's not that groundbreaking. But what we're talking about here is this lightness, this celebration. You have a new foundation. Now that you've cleared out, particularly those lower chakras, you have a brand new foundation of beauty. There was deceit in there before in your first chakra. There was a lot of skepticism, also a lot of, some of you, self-hatred, or not pure self-acceptance. And a lot of that has dissipated. You're standing in this new foundation of self-acceptance, of beauty, meeting yourself exactly where you are. This notion of perfectionism, F off, we don't need you, and good for you for doing that, Pile 3, because we're not here to be perfect. We're here to be messy, and we're here to be beautiful, and find that beauty in the messiness, in that vulnerability. And that's exactly what you'll be doing. So your foundation is brand new and as firm as it can be. Your foundation was the way in which you were working in the world. Your foundation was cracked. So even if you felt firm some days, even if you were grounded into the energy of the earth one day, if any kind of something set you off, you're triggered in some way, you would find those cracks in your first chakra, and then that foundation would leave you a little bit. But this is a really firm foundation based on what is left, and what is left is your divinity, your self-acceptance, your knowledge of wisdom, your profound fascination with beauty that you can take with you, your relentless understanding of vulnerability and how you will use it in this lifetime to show people how strong you really are. This is a gorgeous time for you coming in 2021. Pretty much going to kick off late January going into February. Stay open, stay you. You've done the work. Remember to let yourself shine. And when you need to come back to regroup and close those doors for a little while, remember to turn off your phone and do that for yourself. Profound healing on a physical, spiritual, and metaphysical level is available to you now because of the work that you've done in 2020. So you might be working on that now, and as we come into January 2021. So allow that month for pure integration. All the work's already been done. Don't go into the rabbit hole of I need to do more releasing, I need to do more healing. It's done. Just enjoy January as it starts to move forward. Maybe not at the pace of the rest of 2021, but starts to move forward and really have that time to really profoundly accept this new version of who you are. This is the version that you were always meant to be in this lifetime, and you've achieved it. So well done. So that's what I have for you. That's what we have for you. We want to thank Hecate here coming in and giving us this beautiful messages and just laying the groundwork for these readings and this channeling. So if this resonated with you, do feel free to give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. And of course, subscribe and hit that bell icon. We'd love to have you here at the Unicorn School of Light. Oh, that is the Unicorn School of Light. We'd love to have you there too, but Unicorn Light Tarot. So yes, we do have the Unicorn School of Light down below. We also have Unicorn Therapy. Definitely got some gifts for you at the end of 2020 to give you some more support and love. So Unicorn Therapy through all the chakras, and then we have the 5-day course of intuition and the Oracle, completely free on this YouTube channel for you. As much help and support as we can give you for 2020 and going into 2021 as we can. So go get them if you want to. Again, they're completely free. So much love and light to you, Pile 3. So excited to see your beauty integrate throughout all the world. Can't wait. So stay safe and sane until we meet again. Bye-bye.